So I'm gonna need to,
Unless you just
What are we doing, right? It's 5 o'clock. It is indeed. Oh, like secret place.
Time flies. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I would like to call our December 2021 Planning Commission meeting to order. Amber, roll call, please.
Wendy Birmingham, Robin Bridges.
here,
Phil Chancellor,
Here.
Jana Jager, Mac Lazenby,
here.
Marcus Marshall,
Here.
Warren McCord,
Here.
Nanette Reese,
here.
Bob Reitenbaugh.
Here. Okay, before we get started, I'm going to kind of go over the rules of the road here real quickly. The commission is going to be presented with some agenda items by the planning staff, and a representative for the agenda item will be given an opportunity if they'd like to speak on behalf of that item. And then I'll open a public hearing if it's appropriate. Some of these items require public hearings, some don't. And that's when it's gonna be your opportunity to step forward and talk about that item if you wish. We want everybody to be heard. We asked you to limit your comments to 5 minutes, and please do keep your comments relevant to the case at hand. Then after that, we'll close the public hearing, and the representative and staff, we may have a little bit of a dialogue and before we take to ask questions for clarification. And then we will have a motion, and then once it's seconded, we'll deliberate here at the commission, and then we'll have a vote. The commission will vote based on state and local laws, the city's comprehensive plan 2030, and for the general good of the community. Having summarized that, I'd also like to say a couple of words about summarizing our role that is related to subdivision plats. By Alabama statutes, the Municipal Planning Commission is the final approval authorities for these plats. So with regard to the subdivision plats, the commission acts as an administrative body and is bound by the limitations contained in state laws, zoning ordinance and the subdivision regulations that we have adopted in the past. While public hearings are required on most plats, the preliminary plats are specifically, and we welcome, there's a public hearing that goes along with that. We welcome all public comments, but we want you to understand that this commission's authority is strictly limited to confirming that the plat meets or exceeds specific requirements that are codified in laws. So if I ask that if you do want to come up and speak, we have a sign-in roster right here in the front. If you will please, when you're done speaking, please sign up, give us your name and address. And then finally, I want to make a point that other than the subdivision plats, we are only a recommendation body for the city council. So we don't make final approvals on anything but those subdivision plats. And it moves on to the city council after we have made our recommendation. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to open up a citizens communication time. Now, this is a special time in that we either you can speak on something that's not on the agenda at all, something just whatever's on your mind is fine, or has to be on, or it's on the consent agenda. And so the consent agenda has just a couple of items. We have our packet meeting minutes of 8 November, our regular meeting minutes of 9 November. We have a annexation of the Flanagan property, which is PL 2021-00758. And we have a final plat for East Longleaf Townhomes, which is PL 2021-00791. So if you would like to speak on any of those consent agenda items or something that is not otherwise on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and we will move on to old business. First, I'd like to make the point that the preliminary plat Sutherland subdivision, PL 2021-00643, has been withdrawn by the applicant, and we will not address that any further. Also, item number 8, which is a conditional use, North Dean mixed use, and it is a PL 2021-00788. That has also been withdrawn, and we will not deal with it any further. So for old business, we have a final plat. This is Silos at Conway, PL 2021-00735, and it does not have a public hearing, but would the Mr. J. Howell give us a little presentation?
Yes, sir. Good evening. All right. So, as you know, final plats typically are on your consent agenda. However, this is part of a set of 4 different cases that you're going to hear tonight, and we pulled that out to discuss all of them. This specific case is a final plat request for approximately 55 acres for a conventional subdivision. It would be part of an existing planned development district, the Silos PDD. It would consist, well, before I get into that, you can see that it's surrounded on the south and west by rural zoning district. Outside of that, you have a lot of area that's currently in the county, to include a portion that will be brought into this subdivision as a result. This was the original preliminary plat that was provided when the PDD was first approved. I'll point out this particular area right here, which will be where you see changes in the next plat. Part of the original PDD required that a 25% open space be provided with the development. In order to be able to satisfy that, they're bringing in a little over, not quite 5 acres of additional land to be joined into the PDD that'll contribute specifically to open space. Won't be developed as part of single family. However, because it needs to be, in order to contribute to a PDD's open space, it has to be inside the planned development district itself. That currently, those 5 acres, 4.83 acres, is in the county. And so it has to be annexed in, applied a similar zoning district as the base zoning district, and be amended into the PDD itself. So that's the kind of the down and dirty for the group of all four proposals. One couple of changes that they're providing for this, they relocated the amenity. They did decrease the number of dwelling units by 1 from 71 down to 70, and there is more open space provided through it. Here's an aerial of the subject area, so the subject property. You'll notice now that the entire lake is inside the proposed subdivision for the development. Received no correspondence on this.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rice, would you like to speak?
Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this does not require a public hearing, so it's a motion. If I can have a motion from the council.
Move to approve item 2, final plat for Silos at Conway.
Okay, with all staff conditions?
Yes.
Okay. And I have a second, and is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, on to the consent agenda. We have packet meeting minutes for November 8th. We have regular meeting minutes for November 9th. And then we had the annexation and a final plat that I've mentioned earlier. None of this requires a public hearing. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve consent agenda.
Including the packet meeting and
The
the regular
minutes.
meeting minutes.
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, we're on to new business. The first one is the annexation of the silos at Conway, which is a requirement before that other one will be able to be acted upon, that we talked about earlier in old business. So, Mr. Howell.
Yes, this annexation again is for that 4.83 acres we talked about in the last case. You see it located there in black and white. It meets annexation requirements with contiguity for a property immediately to the south and east. Here it is specifically located alongside the planned development district itself. Subject to any of your questions.
Okay, this does not require a public hearing, so looking for a motion on the annexation.
Move to approve item 5.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 6, new business, silos at Conway. This is a rezoning from rural to LDD, Limited Development District, PL 2021-00781.
Yes, okay.
Mr. Howell.
This will rezone the land that was just recommended for annexation to match the limited development district base zoning that the rest of the planned development district is. That's a requirement for PDDs that all property within it have the same base zoning district. Same property as mentioned before, you see there, same property.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rice? All right, this does require a public hearing, so at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing and ask that anybody that's interested in speaking on this item, please come forward. Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I move to approve rezoning from rural to LDD, silos at Conway, Bill 2021-00781.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, the motion is to approve the rezoning from rural to LDD. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, the last one on the silos.
All right, this case will amend the planned development district to incorporate those 4.83 acres into the PDD. Again, this is specifically to provide the required amount of open space that the development is needed. Here is the existing master development plan. The new master development plan incorporates those new acres into it, relocates the amenity that we talked about earlier, and provides connectivity to the north and to the south, as we talked about during previous cases. Staff is recommending approval for this. There are a few conditions that are applied that needed to be addressed from the previous approval that just need to be added onto this one.
They're part of the staff comments?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rice, would you like to speak on that? Okay. Okay, this requires a public hearing for the Planned Development District modification for its PL 2021-00782. Would anybody like to come forward and speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Look for a motion.
Move to approve item 7 with the conditions.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do have a question. This, adding the 4.83, even though it is for green space, open space, we've had PDDs be amended in the past to incorporate or shuffle around things. This wouldn't happen here, right, to be able to allow more units in the future?
Well, in order to allow more units, it would still have to come back to you to amend the PDD. Technically, because they are reducing their unit numbers from the approved 71 units down to 70, it is possible that they could use a single unit added onto it. However, the 25% requirement as a result of this new addition, the amenities that they're already providing, they're actually providing over 25% with the inclusion of this new property.
Mr. Chairman, just to kind of reiterate what Jay just said, the action that you're taking and the city council takes to approve this only expands the open space. That does not change the density at all.
Right.
So,
Okay.
for clarity.
Okay, this requires, let's see, we've already had a motion and
We're
a
in
second,
discussion.
so any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, so we withdrew item number 8. We're on to item number 9. Reorganize here. Sorry. Okay. Item number 9 is Samford Village Assisted Living Expansion, PL 2021-00789. Ms. Robinson.
Good evening.
Hi.
This is a request from DGM Financial to expand the existing assisted living facility and reclassify the facility to a nursing home. The property's located at 350 Samford Village Court, I believe, and it's PDD. The original PDD was approved back in 2019. The assisted living facility was approved the following year. And the facility opened earlier this year. They constructed 50 of the 65 units that were approved. Their proposal is to build out those additional 15 units plus one more unit, and then reclassify the entire facility to a nursing home since they provide on-site skilled nursing staff. We received no correspondence on this case, and staff does recommend forwarding this to City Council for approval. And there are no conditions, so fairly simple.
Thank you. Mr. Basquin? Okay. Okay, this requires a public hearing. Would anybody like to come forward and speak on the Samford Village Assisted Living Expansion? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I move to approve conditional use Sanford Village Assisted Living Expansion, PL 2021-00789.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
I do have a question. On occasion,
Yes.
with certain levels of memory care, there are distances that they cannot have other, a bar or other uses. Is this one of those?
There is nothing within the zoning ordinance
Right.
that
But
requires
what were the
that.
I didn't know if it's changing anything, properties around it.
As far as state law, the applicant's representative may know more, but as far as the zoning ordinance, no.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, motion and a second to approve the conditional use at Samford Village Assisted Living Expansion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, on to our last item.
All right.
Okay, item number 10 is a waiver to special development standards for the Good Dog Park and Bar.
Yes, sir.
It's PL 2021-00787.
Yes.
Miss English.
This is a request, as you said, for 2 waivers to special development standards for veterinary office with indoor kennel. It's a commercial and entertainment use. This subject property is located at 203 East University Drive in the Comprehensive Development District. And the first request is to allow a common exercise yard to be closer than 50 feet from an adjacent residential property line. It's gonna be on the north side of the property here. I can't. The second is to allow an outdoor exercise yard for a dog park to remain open until 10 p.m. when the zoning ordinance requires that no outdoor exercise is allowed past 9. And the property is approximately 2 acres and is the site of the former Pet Palace indoor boarding and grooming facility, which has been on the site since 1999, so quite a while. And it has a new owner who seeks to incorporate a dog park as an accessory use onto the site, which that is going to be a permitted use in the CDD district. In regards to the first waiver, I'm not sure which, let's go back. First waiver, the common exercise yard shall be no closer than 50 feet. The plan fails to meet this standard as the fenced exercise yard is approximately 37 feet to the property line to the north, which is developed with an off-campus student housing development, which is the Evergreen Auburn. However, there's approximately 135 feet from the fenced area or to the from the property line to the closest structure on that property. In light of this, staff believes that this distance is appropriate or sufficient and recommends approval of a waiver to the required distance from an adjacent residential property line of 50 feet up to, but not to exceed 15 feet to allow the exercise yard to be located a minimum of 35 feet from that property line. Any questions?
A lot of numbers.
The second waiver request is to allow the exercise yard to be open until 10 p.m. The zoning ordinance requires it to be closed or no exercise past 9 p.m. As mentioned, the exercise yard is approximately 37 feet from that north property line. And to the south, the exercise yard is approximately 174 feet to the Parker Place property line, which is across East University Drive. And there's about 188 feet to the nearest structure within that development. And a little further to the south, there's approximately 360 feet between the fenced area and the closest structure in the Garden District apartments. Staff does recommend approval of the waiver to allow the park to be open until 10 p.m. with the condition that if there are any complaints within the first 6 months of opening, that we would bring this back to you for further review and consideration. Also, regarding screening and buffering, there is an existing hedge planted outside of the fenced area on the northern boundary, and there is mature landscaping along the East University Drive street frontage. However, staff feels that additional vegetation may be needed to fully meet the goal of a solid evergreen hedge around the property. So staff is prepared to work with the applicant to ensure that proper screening is in place in all appropriate areas on the property.
Mr. Chairman, just to make sure that we're all clear, so that's a recommendation for a third condition of approval. That would be really what has been stated, that they'll have to either add additional landscaping to provide that screen, that hedge that's contemplated by the regulations, or there's also an option for a fence, solid fence.
And the applicant is present.
Okay, sir, mind answering a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Come on.
Can I?
Sure, if you have
tell
something to say, go say
Yeah,
your
yeah,
thing first,
just-
then we'll ask you questions.
Yeah, I'm Clint. I'm with the Palms Pet Resort out of Birmingham. We acquired a pet resort, Pet Palace, in September. And we know the dog daycare boarding business, and we decided to open a dog park bar. This is nothing innovative. We've copied existing operators in Chattanooga, Tennessee. There's one of these in Columbus, Georgia, right down the road, called Fetch Park. So what's a dog park bar?
Yeah, what is a dog park bar?
Yeah, so it's a place where you can take your dog off a leash and meet friends and have a beer if you'd like. So it's a dog park, but safer. It's safer in 3 ways. We require proof of vaccination to get your dog into the park before you enter. We don't allow children because children around random dogs is very dangerous. and we have what's called a bark ranger, which is like a lifeguard. They're trained in dog behavior. A lot of them will work at the daycare boarding facility. So it's safer than a typical dog park.
The vaccination for whom?
We actually have had that question for it.
For the dog. What was the question? Oh, who was it for?
Yeah, for the dog, you gotta have Bordetella and
Sure.
yeah, there's distemper, the same rabies, the same 3 vaccinations we require to get into their daycare and boarding facility. And we also limit capacity to 50 total dogs in the park. So this is really a park first, bar second, meaning it's a park vibe, there's light music, if any. There's no liquor, it's beer cans only. This isn't Sky Bar. This is a park. The busiest times are 5 to 8 p.m. There's, like I said, these are growing. They're everywhere. Cities are starting to approve them because they realize it really is a park. And so they're popping up in the southeast, and they've become really popular. And on the variants, I want to be clear, there's 2 entities here. There's the daycare, there's the kennel that we all, daycare and boarding, and then there's the park. The kennel is why this rule we're being classified as a kennel, which makes sense. There's not a dog park bar use. It's a new use. And so this rule was made for the kennel side, and it was made for good reason. Kennels are loud. Dogs bark a lot because they're not with their owner in daycare, and the dog to human ratio is a lot higher. It's like 20 to 1. At a park is way quieter. It's typically a 1-to-1. The dog is with their owner, so they're more comfortable, and it's a 1-to-1 dog to human ratio. Probably the first time you've heard that ratio before. And so it's just, the park is way more quiet. And so this request is the kennel entity closes at 6 p.m. The dogs go in and they stay inside. This request is not for that entity at all. Those doors close at 6 p.m. This request is for the park entity, which is the more quiet entity. And if you actually look on the screen there, if you look at the top left of, I guess if you start at the top where the stage is, and you move left, everything that's highlighted is the bar entity. And if the top left of the actual, if you go to the stage and you move left, that where the red is now, that's where the actual daycare yard is. It's actually further away from the point. I believe it's 37 feet from where that stage is, the closest part to the residential. So it's probably about 45 feet. You could measure it, but we're not requesting this we're requesting this for the park entity, but the park entity is not the loud one. It is the one that's closer to residential, but I just want to be clear that there's the kennel is loud, and it will close at 6 p.m. As it does every day right now.
That's all interior. I mean, everybody goes inside.
Yes, there's no outdoor kennels. All the dog. This operation's been around since 1999. We haven't changed anything. She used the outdoor yard, so they all go in and they're quiet. And then the park opens and will be open, in the afternoons. It's more of a park situation. The existing Playwash Pint in Chattanooga is part of a apartment complex called Passenger Flats. If you divided I sent Amber a picture of this earlier.
We've got a copy.
Okay. Well, you can see it right there, and those are really nice apartments in downtown Chattanooga, and they're part of it's a dog-friendly apartment complex. And in Birmingham, we had to do the same variants. They don't have a use for dog park bars, so we're a daycare. We're on the property line, residential property line, with one of the nicest condos in Birmingham, Avenue A. And they approved our use because they understood that we weren't asking for the daycare, we were asking for the park. Just like here, the kennel closes at 6 p.m. in Birmingham as well. So the noise goes away and the park opens and it's just not as loud. So they got comfortable with that reason. And then as Amber pointed out in the report, the fence is 135 feet from the actual residence itself. So it's not like it's right on top of the property line. That's all I wanted to explain.
Can Can you go back to that Avenue A picture, or actually the schematic, this one right here? Can you point out where this dog park is in this facility?
Yeah, so it's, see the kind of the shaded in gray in the middle?
In the middle, yeah.
That's the turf area. Everything shaded in gray represents turf. From there, that area to the right is the park. And then from that area to the left is the actual daycare entity. It'll be separated by an 8-foot fence. I mean, it's basically
So this is the whole facility?
Correct.
What is it included inside this Avenue A?
No, this is, my exhibit I put together isn't very clear, but this is what's going to go inside that, like, steel. They used to roll steel in this building. It's the one with the murals on it. So we're just putting this inside that building, and it's right next to.
It's adjacent.
Yes, I didn't make it clear in the exhibit.
Well, I can see that on the other picture here.
Yeah, so I checked the building in the exhibit. The places with a check mark on them are the building we're doing this to here.
Okay.
So those are the nice apartments. If you like here, the rust covered building, that's the building we're putting this park in. And then the building right to the right of it, you can see there, those are the nice condos.
All right, thanks. Any questions from, this does not require a public hearing. Do we have any other questions from the commission about this? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Now, I guess, so do we have 3 different issues we need to, address these individually? Because we've got 2 waivers, and then you say a third conditions.
It's one of-
Well, if you split the motion up into the first waiver and the second waiver, then the conditions wouldn't be as applicable to, if you could make a motion to approve everything with staff conditions.
Okay.
If you
Well,
don't get a
that's the way
second for
that's the
that,
way
then you
it's-
might have to split it up and do it
Okay,
differently.
Well, that's the way it's presented, so we'll go ahead and go that way.
I will make a motion to approve case PL 2021-00787 in one lump sum with all conditions. All 3 conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the commission? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries.
But, thank you. But do we need something like this instead of people who want to do this in the future asking for waivers?
Say that again?
I guess anybody else who would want to do this in the future would have to come back and ask for these same waivers potentially.
If they wanted to stay open the same number of hours, they would, but they might not need the same hours, so.
I was just we're asking about a precedent being set for 10 PM for dogs and stuff like that.
I will say that we have been in discussions of adding this use as a use in the table of permitted uses. It will probably have its own development standards.
I mean, I agree. I'm aware of all the students bring their puppies.
I don't
And I
think
love
you've,
my puppies, so I agree.
I don't think you've set a precedent tonight per se. I think you've based it on the facts of the specific case.
It is very specific here.
Okay, so we have no other business. I have no communication. I understand the staff has some communication.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the other thing for tonight, what we wanted to do is, we are excited to have a new planner in our department. You'll remember a couple months ago, I announced that Stephanie was moving to the GIS department.
Right.
So we now have Morgan Shepard. And
Right.
you wanna wave,
Welcome, Morgan.
Welcome. She's joined us from Mustang, Oklahoma, but she's
Whoa.
got some roots in this area, I think, in the Montgomery and around here.
My mom is from Elmore County, and that's where most of my family
Oh,
still
good,
lives.
good.
Sauta, that area.
You got your boots on?
No, but I'm right, I mean.
This wasn't a good example. Tonight was
I can
not. a
dress
good
like a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah, don't get used to meetings of this length.
Yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Glad you're here.
Rare.
Is that it?
That's it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, I will adjourn the meeting. We are adjourned.
Ladies and